Getting ready to rock and roll with USF2000. They've got one race in the books to start off the 2024 season. We'll hope to do it again here right now with the driver, Max Garcia, leading them out of turn number 14. They'll get themselves lined up, but they're really stretched out right now coming out of turn number 10. I'd like to see them get up there a little closer. Many of them trying to build some heat into these Continental tires, but again, the tail of the field not quite where they need to be. Garcia and Corey leading them out here as we get set to go for the final time for USF2000. Will we go green this time by? They're lined up nicely at a 14. And again, the key to the start, good pace here for Garcia. Corey on the outside, one driver hopping out a little bit, and the green flag flying. Green, green, green for race number 2 as they race down into turn number 1. 4, 5 wide coming into 1. We'll see if they can get themselves through cleanly here, and indeed they do so far. 2 is just as sketchy as 1. This is where we had issues yesterday. You can see the drivers almost too wide coming through the kink of turn number 3. You roll so much speed through there. Turn 4 is the next place where everybody holds their breath. A couple of drivers defending down to the bottom. Hard to roll the outside there. And then coming through turn number 4, clean and green thus far. Now it narrows up big time through turn number 5, 6. Then, of course, the 7-8 combination here. Turn 7, turn 8, double right-handers leading out to a very long run here. Passing in turn number 10, definitely an option. The kink turn number 9, very quick. Hard braking down in to the left-hand turn number 10. Underway with our first lap here. 20-lapper, 40-minute duration for the drivers at USF2000. There's a pass a little bit further back. That looks to me like the number 14 of Cole Kleck making a move to the inside. Move Kleck up a spot with a nice pass up into turn number 10. Drivers playing nice thus far, and I believe that may be Papasavas already into the lead. He started in the second row outside of row number 2. I think Papasavas able to go to P1. That is a big move for the second-year driver who won last year at Mid-Ohio. More racing side-by-side with Giafoni as he comes across with Max Taylor. But here as they come through the first time, there's a little bit of a lock-up for Giafoni. Taylor kind of trying to run him on the outside. They'll be side-by-side coming through turn number 2. Do they get through cleanly? Man, that's tight racing, and yes. Coming across the bow from left to right, Taylor able to hold him off. Garcia looking at the outside of Papasavas. Press the reset button. This is exactly what we did yesterday with Papasavas out front and Garcia in second. Christodoulou jumping his way up into third. Sam Corey fourth. Elliot Cox rounding out your early top 5. You see the gap back there now to Michael Costello in 6th. Jack Jeffers up into 7th. Jeffers a good run, started 8th, got a spot early. Giafoni up to 8th, Max Taylor 9th, Quinn Armstrong in 10th. Brady going at the back right now. What happened to Joey Brienza? He went down to 13th in the opening lap. Brienza started 7th, but he lost 6 spots in the opening lap. He'll have to put his head back down, the Colorado driver, to dig his way forward. More racing further back. Side by side through turn number 12 and 13. A little sketchy as they come through that chicane. Back over here to 14. And things starting to settle down a little bit early. They'll put the second lap in the books right now. Papasavas, again, he able to expertly work his way up front. A little right front lock up there, but you can see top 6 drivers are all together as Jack Jeffers has got by Costello. Driver on the move early in the Corpay machine for exclusive on sport. Jack Jeffers, 3rd last year in the USF Juniors Championship, 3 times a winner, going for the title in USF Juniors this year. A fact-finding mission for this young driver here at St. Petersburg, thinking about going full-time USF2000 next year. More side-by-side racing. Giafoni is getting pressured hard right now by Thomas Schrag. This is tremendous racing for USF2000. Let's head back to Nikita Johnson. Nikita, I know I was holding my breath for the start of that. You've done this before. The opening laps here pretty sketchy. What were your thoughts for USF2000 here on the opening circuits?
I mean, that was a very clean opening lap. That's how you want it, of course. But yeah, you saw a lot of 2 wide, 3 wide action everywhere. So they're for sure duking it out right now. But you have to be aggressive, but you also don't want to go off or put it in the wall the first lap. So it's a mix of both sides.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, to finish first you must finish, right? Do not get in the wall, like you said. In the USF Pro Race, we saw Hunter Yaney made a bunch of passes over in turn number 10. Right now, the guy making the move is Cole Kleck. He actually just went by Joey Brienza, another pass down into turn number 10. So he's taking advantage of getting that run out of turn number 8 through the kink turn 9 and diving down to the inside. Cole Kleck, I believe, now up into, I want to say, the 12th position. An issue potentially for Kleck now. He's just falling down the order. He had just made the move by, just as I was talking about Cole. Both he and he just came across the line now. Something wrong with Nicholas Giaffoni. He has not come back by either. So, man, could that be 2 straight weekends with an issue, or races rather, with an issue for Cole Kleck? I mean, Giaffoni. Driver did spin in turn number 1. That was Kleck. So he went around. No, turn 14. Oh, look at this. This is actually Giaffoni. It wasn't 14 and 1, it was 1 and 14. Kleck's the 14, that's what confused me. That is actually damage to Nicholas Giaffoni. That is right front and left front damage. Not sure what happened there, but the number 1, full course yellow being out. This is 2 straight DNFs for last year's USF Juniors champion, who came in here to this weekend with so much promise. Was leading on a restart when he overcooked turn 4 and had to take the runoff. I'm hoping we're going to be able to find some kind of a replay on this, because I didn't see it happen. And we know that Cole Kleck had just made a move, I believe, on Brienza in turn number 10. Then he has an issue and falls to the field. I'm going to say likely the 2 of those drivers potentially getting together over in turn number 14. Both those drivers falling to the tail of the field. Giaffoni, as we know, the damage. Oh, here's the move here. So, Kleck with absolutely nowhere to go. Giaffoni going into the corner and getting a bit wide. Let's see that one again. I know that Nikita Johnson just having a chance to look at it, and as a driver, let's go to the driver view on that. So let's have another look so we can get Nikita's thought. It looked like Giaffoni just a little bit wide. Here it comes once again, that replay. And Nikita, have a really good look at this. You know what can happen coming into that corner. Little bit wide. Give me your thoughts.
Yeah, so it looked like he tried to brake late. I'm not sure if he was on the outside trying to make a pass, but it looked like he broke late, locked the right front, got it wide in the dust, and I think he just looped it. But very unfortunate for him and Kleck, my teammate. He didn't really have anywhere to go, so that's not really how you want to end your race.
And Nikita, you're going into that corner, right? You got a lot of wheel on it. You're really trying to turn the thing and late on the brakes, and once you release those brakes, I guess it probably sets the car round in that spin.
Yes, I think he just broke late and had a lot of brake coming in the corner, a little bit offline, and a lot of wheel into it, and just the combination of all those factors led to a spin.
Yeah, there you go, guys, from a driver who has been on this racetrack many times before now as a second-year driver here in St. Pete. Tough one there again for Nicholas Giaffoni. I know so many of his supporters back in Brazil watching online here on the chat. We'll say hello to those of you guys. I know you would like to have something better happen for Nicholas Giaffoni, one of the nicest kids in the pack, and of course a deserving champion of the USF Juniors program last year. Tough to see that beautiful USF Pro Championships scholarship livery up on the hook for him. He'll look, he'll have to put this behind him now and look forward to NOLA Motorsports Park to try to come in there to grab a couple of wins. That's, again, tough for Giaffoni. So we go yellow here on lap number 4. Lap number 5 now goes in the books. Let's reset it for you, though. Evagoras Papasavas. I don't know how that happened on the opening lap, but from 4th to the lead, he was aggressive. He goes to P1. Max Garcia into 2nd. Sam Corey 3rd. Nico Christodoulou in 4th. Elliott Cox now running 5th. Jack Jeffers up to 6th. Max Taylor 7th. Michael Costello in 8th. Quinn Armstrong in 9th. Thomas Schrag. What a good run for Schrag. What did I tell you? From 17th, using the experience, the former F1600 champion and Team USA scholarship driver, up into 10th right now for Schrag, the Ohio pilot on the move. Xavier Kokai for VRD into 11th. Ayrton Hauk for DC Autosport in 12th. Exclusive Joey Brienza 13th. Lucas Facuri and Maxwell Jameson 14th. And 15th for D-Force Racing. Hudson Schwartz gets a couple spots. Like I said, Hudson very likely going to back it out a little bit. Let this thing get underway, and then he can go to work and leverage the speed in that Pabst racing machine. He is currently in the 16th spot. Carson Etter 17th. Tanner DeFabis and Brady Golan remain on the racetrack in 18th and 19th. 2 drivers out, as we said. Cole Kleck with the wing damage. I don't know how much damage. He may have been able to get back into pit lane and got back out, but he is a couple laps down, having to get that new wing on the machine. And as Nikita said, literally nowhere to go. He had just made a fantastic pass on Joey Brienza, and with Giaffoni spinning there around on the hairpin of turn number 14, Kleck with nowhere to go. I'm sure he jumped on the binders, but not enough, and knocking the front wing off that VRD Tatis. So at the quarter mark now, we'll put lap 6 now in the books. Again, we know that corner likely might need to get a bit of a cleanup. The driver's coming through there now. No, actually, doesn't look like there's any comment, just actually some pieces on, or the marks on the racetrack. So likely that we'll go green next time by, with Papasavas leading the way. I feel like we've pressed the replay button from yesterday, as this is exactly what we saw. Papasavas, who led for a majority of the time, hounded race long by Max Garcia, and Papasavas' machine kind of went away in the end. He told us afterwards, just did everything he could to hold back Garcia, who had clearly the faster car in the second half of that race. Indeed, Aaron Likens up on the flag stand telling the drivers one more lap. So we'll put lap 7 in when they come back around. There'll be 13 laps to go. And again, we hope to go green from here. Nikita, let's talk restarts right now. That's one of the key things about this track. Very similar to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course, when it's such a long run from the restart down into turn number 1. What's the key to holding the lead here? Is it all about getting out of turn 14 with a good jump?
Yes, sir. I mean, you want the best start possible, so sometimes you have to be unpredictable. And it's such a long corner in turn 14 that if you go too early, sometimes you can mess yourself up. So it's all about being unpredictable in the right way, of course.
Whatever your guy behind you is thinking, you got to do the other thing.
Yeah, correct. Like you have to kind of try to get in their head a little bit and just change it up sometimes. Throw a curveball every now and then. Is
the issue or one of the dangers potentially spinning your tires out of the corner, or the fact that you try to go diamond the corner and it gets a bit of a push on you?
I think, like you said, like spinning the tires, sometimes if you try to diamond it too much, you actually get off the racing line because it's such a narrow line here at St. Pete. As you know, it's a street course. So once you get off that line, it's all dust and marbles. But we'll see how Papasavas does and what type of restart he'll do.
He's only 15 years of age, folks. Nikita Johnson joining me in the booth here, but he's already a race winner in USF 2000, of course, last year. He jumped into the USF Pro 2000 car last year and won as well. He'll be a driver we see challenging for the championship. Joining me, though, in the booth is my driver analyst here for race number 2 for USF 2000. They'll see the green flag when they come back out to racing. Lap 7 goes in the books, and Papasavas now thinking defense. Garcia on the gearbox. Can he force him into a mistake? That's one of the key issues. Down to the inside he goes. Further back, there's a move to the inside. Jack Jeffers having to look to the inside of Elliott Cox, but thinks better of it. They'll work their way in the first time down into turn number 4. Another great opportunity for an overtake if you get a run. Expect to see the defense down the inside into turn number 4. Actually, pretty much wide. Good run for everybody there. Jeffers still having to look to the inside. Not a bad idea to fill the mirrors of the driver in front of you when they're in the braking zone there. And of course, that's Elliott Cox. He saw that exclusive Autosport car in the mirror, but still was able to hold position. Here they are, single file through 7 and 8. And again, once again, we go back at it. Wherever you are on the track, you're going to be battling with something. That's one of the beauties of this program right now. There's the 11 going to the inside. That's Quinn Armstrong, the Aussie. He'll try to hold his spot as he's got to believe behind him right now, Thomas Schrag. Yeah, indeed, Schrag in the other Corpay car for exclusive Autosport. Again, started 17th up into 10th, and Thomas Schrag wants to keep going. He likes these yellows. He wants to get a couple of spots. A big lockup coming in there to turn number 14. And you've got to watch out when you start locking up that tire. Once you've done it once, those Continentals want to keep doing it again. Any tire you're running, you lock it up. And it's going to want to keep grabbing that flat spot. This time, look at this. Aggressive for Garcia. Down the inside. Big wide run. Lock up for Papasavas. They're side by side coming through turn number 1. How's it going to be for turn number 2? Garcia to the inside. He'll take the spot. Book it. Garcia to the lead. Oh, big move to the inside for Garcia. Papasavas trying to hold the outside, locked up the right front again. What did I say? And that has dropped him down to 4th. Here's a side-by-side race as well. Look at this. Cox scrapping it out right now with Christodoulou. Man, this thing could go awry very, very quickly. Elbows up here in USF 2000. Wow, that was a big race there between Christodoulou and the number 67, Elliott Cox, but Elliott wasn't having anything of it. He holds onto the spot. Christodoulou tried to work him pretty hard coming out of turn 4, but with the inside line coming over to the right, left-hand turn 5, Cox, I think, had to kind of rebut that one and really kind of get into it a little bit because the pressure was there on the inside. But wow, good racing for USF 2000. This is early. We're not even halfway point yet. Garcia, though, with a fantastic move, went down to the inside, and I think that Papasavas realized where he was, and he had to try to make the big outside run and maybe get a better drive over into 2. Locked up that right front, and that's going to be a concern for the rest of the race for Papasavas. Has a flat spot of that right front tire. If we see some more smoke out of that machine, we'll know the issue. Otherwise, top 10 settling in. Garcia, Corey. Yeah, the number 23 at Corey now up into 2nd, taking advantage of that issue for Papasavas. So Sam Corey up to P2, Papasavas 3rd. Cox and Christodoulou, your top 5. Right there is Jeffers, Costello, Taylor, Armstrong, and Schrag. Kokai just on the outside of the top 10. The race-winning driver from the Australian Formula 4 program coming to join us here. A couple of Aussies, as I said, in the program here. He and Quinn Armstrong as well. And man, they are all fighting here midway through this USF 2000 race. Now, what a great start to the season. Again, Nikita Johnson knows what it likes to win here in this USF 2000 program, one of the top drivers in the program last year. Nikita, while we're kind of settling in here, let's just, I know it was a year ago, but what did it mean to win here at home?
I mean, it meant amazing. It's a street course, so it's always hard for everybody. You don't get a lot of practice here. But other than that, just I had my family and all my friends, and especially the fans. All the fans were rooting me, even if they didn't know me. They knew me as a hometown driver. So it was very cool to win last year. Hopefully we can do that again tomorrow, or get some good points. But it's always fun to see the fans out here cheering, and friends and family.
I remember the celebration, man. It was pretty loud, pretty raucous down here in Victory Lane when you got a chance to get that victory and look for Nikita to win more races here this year. There you go, a defensive move down the bottom of the racetrack there. Again, that is Jack Jeffers defending down the bottom of P6. Max Taylor right there in the 7th spot trying to find a way by. We are at the halfway point now, 10 laps down, 10 to go. And we talk a lot about fitness as well for these young drivers. You remember some of them just 14, 15, 16 years of age. As you work your way up the USF Pro Championships and eventually into Indy next and then IndyCar, the strength you need, the fitness you have to have is, I think, so crucial in terms of finding that ultimate success. And we'll see in the second half of the race, so the drivers who have got that high level of fitness, have been in the gym, who've been on the treadmill, on the bike, whatever it may be, they don't fall off. It's those that may not be focusing as much on their fitness, or maybe early in that fitness journey, that they get a little bit tired at the end, the last 2 or 3 laps, and that's when you can force them into a mistake. And that's why, and we'll come back in a little bit to talk to Nikita about his fitness program, because that's what it's all about, whether it's in the car or on the bike, pushing weights, whatever it may be. Very crucial. Here's Nikita Johnson, Max Taylor, Nikita's teammate, trying to go to the outside of Jeffers. Did he get the job done? I don't think he did. Well, he may have, actually. This is some exciting racing up front. We got some guys moving around here just outside the top 3. Yeah, we've had a couple of overtakes here as these drivers still fighting it out right now. We'll come back to that momentarily because the fight from, I think, 3rd on back has started to kind of heat up. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. So behind Cox, then you go down to the next driver, which is Christodoulou. Then we line things up here with Jack Jefferson 6. Jeffers has got Taylor, Costello, Schrag, Armstrong, Kokai, all there. So again, that's the shot there coming through turn number 9. They'll work their way up to turn 10. Hopefully we can see that as they work their way up here to turn number 10. No, we got a full course yellow, I believe. Caution out. Caution out as a driver has got into the, we believe, concrete, the barriers on the outside of turn number 8. Indeed, driver in turn number 8 off the racetrack here. Now we'll try to figure out who that was. I think it might have been one of the Jay Howard cars potentially. Yeah, Nikita Johnson pointing at the live timing, thinking it may be Costello. And we talked about how crazy that racing was there. Costello had a really strong run yesterday to the top 5. May have got into the wall on the exit of 8. Not a hard thing to do. You're trying to get that rotation coming to the corner. I don't know. Well, we may get a replay on that. The camera that we have in that corner may pick up the entry. He may have not got the car down to the apex, and we'll let Nikita have a look at that, because Nikita, the bottom line is, we talked about this before. Hey, we do have a look. Let's get the replay first, and then we'll come to you. This is one of these tracks that if you can't get it down to the apex, you find yourself outside that limited groove, as we said. This is coming down to turn number 8. Oh, that was one where you hit the apex on the inside. That's a lot of damage for Michael Costello. And we've seen it once. If we can re-rack that and have a look at it again, I'll pass it over to Nikita Johnson, because Nikita, that looked like he tapped the inside and missed the apex and got into the concrete.
Yes, for sure. That's the whole left side, unfortunately, so that sucks for him. But we'll go see if we can try to watch it again. It looked like he got too close to the corner. I think he hit the wall on the apex and then got on the brakes. Yeah,
watch here to that wall. He's going to ricochet off. Yeah, you can see trying to clip the corner of turn number 8. He hammered that right front. And, of course, when you do that, it's obviously sent you to the outside of the racetrack. And he, at that point, was just a passenger. And that's tough. Listen, we talked about how narrow the line is here, and again, you guys have to be so precise when you're trying to hit an apex. Any other track other than Toronto, of course, the apex is going to be some curbing on the inside of the track, right? You have some room to potentially run over top of the curbing. The apex here is this flat, straight up concrete wall. How hard is it to that? Maybe hold yourself back a little bit from really cutting a corner that close.
It's very hard because you have to be so precise. Like, even me in practice, I went and clipped turn 8 a bit.
You did?
Nothing bad, just a little skim of the wool, but yeah, it's very hard here, especially at least in turn 1 and the last turn you have curbings, but you just have to be so precise. And with those walls, sometimes every year they're a bit different.
Yeah.
So for the people that have been here last year, they have to go completely rethink and redo some of the corners because sometimes you have a wall poking out a tiny bit, not super smooth. And turn 8 from when I was driving, the entry comes and pokes out a little bit, then it goes flat, and then it's almost another corner. So it's almost a double right in a way.
Okay.
So you have to be careful, and you want to hit the second part of it. And I think he just got in too early and hit the first part.
So when you tapped it very lightly, obviously no damage, did you hit the inside or did you hit the outside when you're back on throttle?
I hit the inside like Costello.
You did hit the inside?
Yes. And what saved me is that I hit like the second part. So I skimmed it and I was parallel to the wall.
All right then. So again, perfect guy to have here to talk about how easy that is to do. And indeed, that's one of the things. And listen, let's go back to the track walk we talked about. That's when you remember what the track looked like the year before. Hey, this is a bit different. This is maybe 4 inches different. We had that happen in turn 3 a couple years ago where they changed that a little bit. We are actually going to go red. Let me just bring up the speed. We're going to go red right now. That's going to allow these cars to come back to pit lane. We did this, of course, yesterday. We go red, back to pit lane. That allows us, number one, to clean things up, maybe move some barriers if need be, but the drivers aren't losing crucial racing laps here. We have a window of 40 minutes to do 20 laps. So indeed, again, this with being the last race of the day, the cool factor right now is we can bring them back to pit lane. We'll preserve the last, let's say, 6 laps, because they'll go back on the racetrack. They'll get 1 lap when they come back around. So indeed, red flag, cars going back to pit lane, but let's come back to Nikita. Again, the track build's always a little bit different. So interesting your insight that they're really the way that that concrete was placed as the apex of turn number 8, something that you had to pick up in the track walk.
Right, yes. Especially when you go on the track walk, you try to go look at if the curbings are a little bit different, how the walls are placed, especially in 7 and 8. They're always laid up tiny bit differently. So that's when you really want to take the notes, because that's a section that you need to be perfect or you lose a lot of time. Or you can, eat the dust.
Yeah, you can eat the dust, or the outside retaining wall, as you said. I don't want to give away, obviously, all your secrets. You guys obviously do a lot of work. You talked about those notes. Detailed notes for a track like this of where everything needs to be and kind of where you attack every corner, because we talked not only about the concrete block placement, but also the different parts of the racetrack. When you're coming through turns number 5 and 6, all of a sudden you got that big concrete patch, and the car's going to react differently when you're on power over that concrete.
Yes, for sure. It'll react a lot differently depending on how different it is each year. And also the paint, too. That's what you have to think about. Like, through turn 3, you have the crosswalk, and you have a few other different stuff. And then even down the straightaway, like, when I was on my out lap, one of the things was, like, I felt that it was greasy coming across the paint. And I think most people did, because I saw some people sliding across the paint. But that's a really good indication about how the track is and where it's at.
And I think that speaks volumes when the drivers do have success here, being able to really navigate so many different challenges that they have. This is not like being at a brand new paved racetrack like a Mid-Ohio or back when Road America got paved, where you're on this track and you're learning it and it's glass smooth and you're getting a good feel for it. This is something that it really is almost a living being. Every year it's a little bit different, right? And again, not like Toronto, because Toronto has to go through Canadian winters, which we know takes a beating on the pavement there. Of course, the sun baking down here throughout the year in St. Petersburg can definitely change things as well. We are going to be coming to a restart right now. Our viewers who are watching on the YouTube channel or on USF2000.com or the USF Pro Championships app, what are your thoughts on a restart from pole? And again, are you an early guy? I know we talked about doing different things. What's worked for you? Are you an early guy, or are you hold off, and then try to jump it early?
I think if you hold off, that's sometimes the best call, especially here at St. Pete. If you go too early, it's a big risk that you're going to mess up. I mean, of course, we'll see how Max does and what he will do. But maybe he'll try to go do something different than Papasavas did.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll know that Papasavas is behind him, and instead of trying to do almost like what Papasavas did, he'll just go do something completely different. But, of course, we will see that in a few minutes.
Yeah, we're going to see. Yeah, we can speculate all we want, but that is, of course, now in the hands of Max Garcia. I just got word that we are working on, number one, wall repair. There was contact made for Michael Costello. He is fine. Driver is okay, which is key. His race car, obviously, is not damaged to the right front after the contact with the apex on the blocks on the inside of turn number 8. He ricocheted from there off and made hard contact, so it's going to be left side damage front and rear for that Jay Howard driver development machine. Now they're done right now until we do the next race will be, which of course is NOLA Motorsports Park on the first weekend of April. So they'll have time to put that car back together, but not the ending that Michael Costello was looking for after a really strong debut in the series, battling back and forth with a number of drivers for the top 5 position that he was able to lock and load. So Garcia is the leader, Corey in second, Evagores Papasavas, who took a surprise lead on the opening circuit, back into the 3rd position. Elliot Cox running in 4th, Nico Christodoulou in 5th, Jack Jeffers now 6th, Max Taylor 7th, Thomas Schrag from 17th up to 8th. The kid from Ohio putting on a show in the Corpay number 92 for exclusive. Quinn Armstrong trying to get another top 10 in that D-Force racing machine. Xavier Kokai looking for his first top 10 for VRD Racing. Love him what he's doing out on the racetrack as well. Joey Berenza coming back up to 11th. Ayrton Hauk in 12th. Hudson Schwartz, we talked about the fact that he really hasn't even had a lap. Got in an incident on the opening lap of qualifying. Because he brought out the red flag, he literally lost the 1 lap that he had, so no time whatsoever. Then he had a wreck on the opening lap of race number 1. So Hudson really just turning his first laps here in that Pabst Racing number 22. So he has worked his way up to 13th. So he'll have about 5 or 6 laps to go at the end to see if he can't get a couple more spots. Lucas Facuri running in the 4th position. Maxwell Jameson in 5th. Carson Edders 6th. Brady Golan in 7th. And Tanner DeFabis in, Golan in 17th. DeFabis in 18th. Michael Costello, Cole Kleck, and Nicholas Giafoni out of the race as we are right now. So again, on a red flag right now, working to get things underway. You can see further back in the shot there, they're bringing the car of Costello in, the full diaper on the bottom of that machine, so that could indicate some damage to the gearbox. That's one of the things that can happen when you make that side shot coming out of the corner and you really kind of side it into the barriers. It's not that hard then to kind of jam the hash shaft through the gearbox. That's a major damage for sure, and can drop a lot of fluid onto the track. And of course, that's in charge of the AMR IndyCar safety crew and the track staff to get that cleaned up. We talked about the barrier getting moved, and you got a, 1,500 pound car smash into the side of a wall. It's going to happen. But no doubt these guys will get things cleaned up pretty quickly. And listen, we talked about with Quinn Armstrong earlier, talking, Nikita, about the AMR IndyCar safety crew. So great to have them on board with us. If something happens, number one, they're going to be there and going to get cleaned up quickly. And if there is some kind of an incident where a driver could be in trouble, they know exactly what to do when they get there.
Yes, sir. Yeah, they'll make it perfect. They're usually very fast at their job, and that's what I love about it. But sometimes it takes a little bit longer, but I know every time there's a crash or something happens on track, they don't leave until it's perfect. And that's one of the things I love about it is when you come back on track after a red, the track will be fixed. It'll be perfect. Maybe there'll be some, I forgot what we call it, but it's like the dry stuff for oil and
speedy dry, whatever you want to call it, yep.
And sometimes you'll have that on track, but you'll know that the barriers are back in place and everything's all right.
So let's look forward in the season right now. We're ready to cap things off for USF2000. We're probably going to get 5 laps near the end of this one here. We got a long season, right? I know we're getting started. Everybody's so excited about the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. But, we're thinking, long-term down to Portland, another Green Savory event on the final weekend of August to cap off the championship. You want to be in the middle of a championship fight there. Is there another race somewhere in there that you're looking forward to? Is it getting on the oval? Is it Indianapolis? Is it Road America? What race are you looking forward to driving that USF Pro 2000 car for VRD?
I think it's the month of May because we have the road course.
I love it. Yeah.
We have the road course, and we have 3 races that weekend, too, in each class. So that'll be fun. It's always a very good track with racing. There's a lot of passes. Last year we had a few incidents in 2000.
A couple.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be better this year. Pro looked very nice. And then the oval will be fun. Most people don't know that between my karting and my juniors debut in 2022, I actually did Legends for 2 years. So I did a bit of oval racing, and yeah, I love oval. I mean, I always watch dirt racing, and that's one of my favorite. But yeah, those 2 races, and then Road America is probably one of my favorites.
I love Road America.
You never really get outside of the draft. The straights are so big that you're always in the tow, and there's not stop racing.
One of the big things, folks, about the USF Pro Championships app, if you haven't had a chance to look at that, is we also have our Climb documentary. It's a new program that we launched back in 2023, this mini documentary, really going kind of in deep with all of our drivers, learned a lot more about them. We looked at a lot of the races, and our first episode of the Climb, which I'm told, Nikita, you're a big part of as well. You're going to be part of the storyline for the Climb. That comes out this coming Friday. And, of course, you're able to see that on our YouTube channel as well, but you can find it on the app along with live timing and, of course, all the live coverage here from USF Pro TV. But that first episode of the Climb, our mini documentary, coming out this Friday. And Nikki, that's one of the things we do here in the USF Pro Championships, right? You're learning how to drive, but there's a lot of stuff you do outside the car. We've got you here in the booth getting some experience as a driver analyst, but all the interviews that we do throughout the season, it gives you the opportunity to get in front of the camera. It's not something that a lot of the racers get a chance to do when they're young.
Right, like how you're asking me if I matured from last year. I'll say yes, because I did a lot of the interviews with you guys, and it just helped because, I'm really good at racing. I'm not the best behind the microphone sometimes, so it helped me a lot, and especially for this weekend or this week, I've been doing so many interviews and a lot of PR stuff that it's very crucial to speak well. And this series gives you so many opportunities to be in front of the camera or to even meet some IndyCar teams. They're always watching.
That's true.
So that's one of the great things about the series. You got the IndyCar teams that are watching. You get to be on the YouTube. You get to be on the live stream. You get to be in the booth like I am right now.
That's it.
So there's a lot of great pluses in the series. And you also have the championship, the scholarship.
Indeed.
So that's a big, big thing about this. And as you see, there's a few Europeans coming over now.
Yeah.
And I think this series is growing big time.
Well, let me tell you this right now. You downplay your ability here in the booth, and yes, I've watched you kind of grow here over one season. But again, A+. You're doing a great job right now in the booth. And again, you can tell you've did a lot of work over last year and this year. You are providing a ton to this broadcast right now, Nikita. Nikita Johnson again, folks, if you didn't know, joining us here in the booth. My name is Rob Howden, the voice of this USF Pro Championship. Nikita running for VRD Racing in the USF Pro 2000 category. He's also going to run GB3 this year once he gets old enough to be able to start that season, so a lot of great seat time for him. And, of course, Nikita mentioning the scholarship, which is such a big part of what we do in the USF Pro Championships. We're going to be giving out over $1.68 million this year as part of the USF Pro Championships. And again, drivers here in the USF 2000 category racing for over $258,000. That's the scholarship prize to move to USF Pro 2000. And for a lot of the drivers, this is the only opportunity for them to continue working the way up the ranks because, man, it is tough. It's a lot of money to go racing. And the scholarship program with the USF Pro Championships like no other. Max Garcia, folks, is going to have to go on a restart here to see if he can be the guy to hold off Sam Corey. It's actually his teammate behind him right now. Evagoras Papasavas is in that third spot. And again, they're going to put, I'm not sure if we're going to call this lap 15 when they come back around. Nonetheless, about a handful of laps set to go. I haven't seen any indication or heard from race control that we could potentially be going to a timed race at this point here. Nonetheless, we are getting ready to go back to racing. Max Garcia trying to see if he can't go two in a row here at a 14. He does dominate a little bit, little lock up. He's on the throttle, and away we go. His teammate Sam Corey will be right behind him. Pabst Racing 1-2 with Evagoras Papasavas for Jay Howard right behind him. Big run down this long straightaway, the airport strip here at Alfred Wittard. Down they go into turn number 1, and he does defend, but here comes the move to the inside. Jeffers, no. Jack Jeffers had to look to the inside of Nico Christodoulou, but thought better of him. He is on the gearbox right now, and I'll tell you, it is Jeffers on Christodoulou and Schrag on Taylor. Trying to make a move. Big move down the inside for Jeffers. Side by side, no. That was exclusive. Two exclusive drivers going after two VRD drivers that they're lining up there, and that is again for 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Clean through the first half of the lap. This is where the incident happened with Michael Costello here, tapping that wall right by the ticket clinic sign. And again, here comes Garcia, got a nice little advantage. This is a good run for him right now. I'll tell you, Jack Jeffers in that number 90, the rookie, is aggressive. Look and see, you can see Christodoulou blocking to the inside. He defends down to the bottom, trying to hold off Jeffers. This is going to be a good battle at the end. Jeffers trying to over-under him. This is going to fight for sure for P5. And again, over to turn number 14 again. This will be lap number 16. 4 to go this time by. And let's see it right there. Christodoulou stacking everybody up. He's on the defense in a big way. A run for Jeffers coming down the straight. This is going to allow Garcia, Corey, Papasavas, and Cox to stretch out. We'll see if we get any kind of action at ever. It is on the outside. Jeffers trying to go the outside. He's going to get a challenge from the inside from Max Taylor. And they get contact. Two drivers contact at the apex. I think that's Jeffers and Taylor. Contact in turn number 1. So Taylor trying to go to the inside and gets into Jack Jeffers, the two of those drivers, with a spin in turn number 1. I think both drivers able to get going. We heard over our shoulders the engines firing as the drivers getting things back underway. But Taylor threw it down the bottom. Jeffers was on the outside trying to get a better run on Christodoulou. And it seems to be like both those drivers out. Now we'll see whether or not Taylor went around as well. I don't know that he did. Yeah, I think he did. That is Schrag, I believe, into the 6th spot. So indeed, a change up here a little further back. So the spin in turn 1 has changed things around just outside the top 5. Thomas Schrag, though, going to work now on Nico Christodoulou. He's ready to try to work his way into the top 5. We are going to have a look at that. We do have a replay, so 4 laps to go. Let's have a look at the replay when we can. I don't know that we're going to have any challenge coming down. Here they come through. There's Garcia, Corey, the top 4 coming down the inside. Yeah. Max Taylor getting into the side of the number 90 of Jack Jeffers, threw it down the inside. So back-to-back races, not good in turn number 1 for Max Taylor. Jeffers, who was challenging big time on Christodoulou, finds himself backwards. He's not getting got back around for Jack Jeffers. Not sure whether there's damage to that machine. Here's the fight a little further back as well. There's a pass to the inside. So again, driver, there's contact there. Oh no, more damage as one of the drivers, Ayrton Hauk, had trouble coming through. Driver tried to win outside him, and that is Ayrton Hauk right there. It looked to me like Hauk was pushing wide off, and one of the drivers was going around. It might have been Lucas Facuri. We're gonna go full course yellow here again, and that actually may end this race as we go potentially full course yellow here right now. Contact, as we said, over in turn number 5. Hauk pushed wide. I think he might have been slow. Facuri tried to go around the outside of him. Right front to left front contact. That will lock things down here. Drivers are going to work their way around. Garcia with the lead, and that may be it. We are going to have a look at this. And as I said, look for Hauk in the 58 to potentially be slowing coming out of this corner. Let's see what happens as they come through. I don't know what happened to Hauk there. He literally turned to the right, I think, coming through turn number 4 over to turn number 5, and Facuri was on the outside. Nikita had a first look at that. Nikita, let's have one more look. Let's cue that up again and have a look at that replay, because that was really odd. It almost looked like the car jinked to the right when he should have been turning to the left. Not sure if he was reacting to something in front of him or what happened. But Ayrton Hauk, we'll have another look at that. We'll give you the top 10 as they run on the racetrack here with just 2 to go. This is definitely going to end the race. Max Garcia is going to win here for the 2nd time in St. Petersburg. Let's have one more look at the replay of the incident that happened. Coming out of turn 4 over to turn number 5. Lucas Facuri was trying to, I believe, going around the outside of Ayrton Hauk. Nikita, have a look at this right now. As they come through turn number 4, we'll look for the number 58 a little further back. Right here. That was weird, wasn't it?
Yeah, it looked like, I'm not sure if he had a bad exit or if he was slowing down and had a car issue, because he was ahead and then he lost about a car length and a half, and I think he was trying to pull out of the way. Maybe that's why he went to the right to go to the outside, but I'm not exactly sure. I couldn't really see it, but maybe his visor was cracked a little bit, so I'm not sure if he had a car issue or if he just had a bad exit.
Well, that's something that we're going to have to find out when we get back to the paddock. Nonetheless, the white flag will fly this next time by. Okay, we're going to get one more look at it here. As they come through the corner, we'll watch out. You see the car kind of just moves a bit to the right. I don't know if he thought he needed to change. He's coming into the corner here. He's turning in. All of a sudden, it's like he resets and moves to the right of the racetrack. And at that point, Lucas Facuri trying to go around the outside. And I go to the thought that maybe there's an issue in the car, because Facuri had so much speed to go around the outside of him.
Right, yes, he caught up to Ayrton like maybe 2 car lengths.
Yeah.
So I think he had an issue, because at that point, you wouldn't be turning right. You would be wanting to be right on the apex and nibbling the curb. So I think he had an issue because he came out of there pretty slow, and then he tried to pull out of the right, and it looked like he was trying to get off the racing line.
So indeed, let's kind of unpack what's happened here with the white flag flying. A couple laps ago, contact between Jack Jeffers and Max Taylor. Jeffers was done. He ends up in the 18th spot. Max Taylor, I believe he's done as well. No, Taylor's still on the racetrack. He is 15th position for Taylor. That's where he's going to finish. Aaron Hauk and Fakiri 16th and 17th. Garcia's going to get the win. Sam Corey second. Evagoras Papasavas, that'll be your podium. Same as yesterday, but a little bit changed up. Corey moving from third to second. Elliot Cox, another top five. And the number 67, Nico Christodoulou, ends up in fifth. Thomas Schrag, plus 11, started 17th, was putting the pressure on Christodoulou. I think if we went to the end, Schrag may have been able to get by Christodoulou for a top five, but nonetheless, Thomas Schrag, great run for him in the Corpay number 92. Quinn Armstrong for D-Force, 2 top 10s for a driver who is doing whatever he can to find the budget to run in 2024. If you're down in Australia, this is a kid to hitch your wagon to. Great run for Armstrong, a strong effort to stay out of trouble. Top finishing rookie as well, Quinn Armstrong. Joey Brienza in 8th. Hudson Schwartz stayed out of trouble like he needed to do. Got rewarded with a top 10. He ends up in 9th. And Xavier Kokai in the top 10 for VRD Racing. Maxwell Jamison 11th. Carson Etter 12th. Brady Golan 13th. Tanner DeFavis 14th. And Max Taylor does stay on the racetrack, although I believe, he may be a lap down in the 15th position. Contact between he and Jeffers, a tough weekend for sure for Max Taylor. The contact between he and his teammate Nico Christodoulou after Christodoulou spun in turn number 1 yesterday, and then a move to the inside on Jeffers ended with both of those drivers facing backwards on the exit of turn number 1. But back on the positive side of things, Max Garcia, what a great way to come into St. Petersburg and start the season in your second year. But he's never been here before. Again, that's the one crazy thing. He wasn't old enough actually to race here last year. This year, his first opportunity to run in the category. He is going to come out at turn number 14 and see the checkered flag at start-finish. Max Garcia under the yellow, going to go back-to-back Jackson USF2000. Count him the point leader heading to NOLA Motorsports Parks for the next round of the program. He and Sam Corey. Little picture coming across start finish. Corey pulls alongside to show that it's a Pabst Racing 1-2. I like that. Papasavas third, another podium for him and the Pabst Racing crew celebrating again. They won the driver championship and the team championship last year, picking up where they left off at the end of 2023. Very good run, good weekend. And USF 2000 for the drivers here of Pabst Racing, Garcia and Corey 1-2. And again, Hudson Schwartz really coming back for a solid run. You see him there on the screen, 9th position for the rookie Hudson Schwartz after what was a very tough start with issues in both qualifying and race number 1. Garcia, Corey, Papasavas, the podium. Cox and Christodoulou rounding up the top 5. Maybe the drive of the race, Thomas Schrag from 17th up to 6th. I'll give it to him. Very impressive drive. Quinn Armstrong, top finishing rookie. As we said, great run for Quinn. A couple of top 10s here as he tries to put the budget together to run 2024. Brienza ends up in 8th. Hudson Schwartz in 9th. And Xavier Kokai. I'm going to get that name right. I know a bunch of Xaviers. You got to get the right one, right? I'll figure that out. Jamison 11th, Etter 12th, Golan 13th, DeFabis 14th, Taylor a lap down 15th, and then the drivers, of course, not making it back to the checkered flag. Hauk, Fakuri, Jeffers, Costello, Kleck, and Giafoni. Tough weekend for Nicholas Giafoni. Drivers will work their way back around. Nikita Johnson, thank you so much for joining me, man. I do appreciate it. We had to work you hard there. 20 minutes. You and I went back and forth while we waited for the track to be ready. But tell me, you're back on the racetrack tomorrow morning. You had a good top 5 finish in the opening round. What are your thoughts here for round number 2?
I think we're going to be pretty strong. We had the fastest lap in race 1.
You did? Not by much, though.
Yeah, it was very close to Lockie. You know, they got their car down, and Lockie's very fast this weekend. So hopefully we can be up there duking it out with him for the win. But you know, qualifying we're a bit off. Dan and I engineered the car overnight, and he just gave me a fantastic race car today. So we'll go through the data and video again tonight. We'll go figure out where we can do better. And then tomorrow is just about putting it all together, and hopefully we can get a win in race 2 like last year.
We saw Papasavas go from 4th up to P1. You could do that yourself for sure. Again, Nikita Johnson, folks, thank you so much for joining me. How do they follow you, Nikita, on social media? Because I want, obviously, you can talk about your sponsors a little bit that you have, and let's talk about that in your social media as well. Who do you have back in your program here for 2024?
Yeah, so first of all, you can follow me on Instagram at Nikita Racing. And then I wouldn't be here without all my sponsors. So, 409 A Direct, AnyDesk, Labrador Primary Care Center, Lavu, O'Maddy's, which is a bar and grill in Gulfport. That's where we had the party.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
Thank you to Joe Gunther. And then PSA Check and Tiger Precision Products and Zoa Energy. So, they're helping me get through the week and all of them with all the funding. Of course, racing's hard. You're always looking for sponsorships and to help. It's also good getting free energy drinks. So
100%.
That's helping in this heat. But, yeah, just thank you to all my sponsors for helping me get out here. As a driver, you're always trying to look for new opportunities.
That's it. And again, folks, a rising American star, Nikita Johnson, joining me. Thank you so much, Nikita. There's Max Garcia, another rising American star. Great run for the Florida pilot. Another win for him. The yellow flag coming out, locking things down. We saw the emotion that he had yesterday. I'm sure a little bit will be there here today again, but again, for him to go back-to-back and have this guy in his corner here right now, Hunter McElroy. That's Bob Perona right there. McElroy, of course, one of the drivers for many years for Pabst Racing. A big win for him going back-to-back. That is key. And a Pabst Racing 1-2. Sam Corey right there with him. So a tremendous drive for both those drivers up front. Pabst Racing goes 1-2. And again, as we said, going to NOLA Motorsports Park, it will be a point lead for the Florida driver, Max Garcia. Tremendous run here for sure. Well, he was there the whole time. Todd Lewis, you got a chance to watch it. Nikita Johnson, they go, well, I'm learning how to talk on the PA and in front of cameras. That kid was amazing today.
He's learned a lot.
Wow.
And great job from Nikita Johnson, both talking about this USF 2000 race and also in his race earlier today, as you mentioned, with a nice top 5 finish.
Yeah.
Terrific to do in your hometown, and now he'll be back on track first thing tomorrow morning to try to back that up again. But another action-packed USF 2000 race with a lot of activity. And how about Max Garcia, as he's making up for lost time, as you mentioned, was not able to run this race last year because he wasn't quite old enough. So I'm coming back. I'm sweeping the weekend.
Wow.
And a tough back-to-back, too, because they had practice qualifying race number 1 yesterday, and then that was it until the last thing of the day today on-track activity. They haven't been in the car for about 24 hours.
24 hours and a couple of IndyCar sessions, and that was the key thing. The track was so unbelievably different for those guys when they rolled back out. But Nikita, full package, as we know, very impressive driver. Already won here last year in USF 2000. He already won a USF Pro 2000 race last year in his debut at the Circuit of the Americas last August. So he's a guy to definitely watch for sure. And again, for those of you tuning in, of course, on the broadcast here, we'll take a little bit of a break here momentarily and then be able to obviously stream the Victory Lane presentations, our last race here for USF 2000 drivers. And again, those cars heading back. But what a great drive it was, man. So much fun to watch these guys go at it. Although at the end, got a little hectic, Todd.
Got a little wild, got a little hectic, but again, as you get down to the closing laps, it's the natural instinct coming in. Is like, I've got an opportunity. It's a late restart. This might be my last chance to make up a position, maybe two. And sometimes drivers get a little bit over-aggressive. It happens. But you made a point of pointing out Hudson Schwartz, who comes home with a 9th place finish. He had a dreadful weekend.
Indeed.
Up until today. Yesterday, he had so many difficulties out on track. And then, of course, the first lap incident during the race yesterday. He's had to sit with that for 24 hours, but maybe the break helped him, just a chance to get a little distance, a time to talk to the team, decompress a little bit, and then refocus and come back at it tomorrow. But ran a very smart race, stayed out of trouble, and just took position after position as it became available.
Yeah, exactly that. Our drivers, of course, out of the cars. They'll work their way over here to Victory Lane, and we'll have the celebrations coming up very, very soon here. Great run for Max Garcia, as we know. Sam Corey, Evagoras Papasavas, all coming to join us here at Victory Lane, and we'll get things underway. We've got hardware to pass out, of course. A tremendous race there for those drivers in the Andersen Company's Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. We have some of the guests from Andersen Company going to help us out and pass out the trophies to these top 3 well-deserving drivers. Folks, don't go anywhere on the live stream here. We'll be back in a couple of minutes for Victory Lane celebrations. Todd, thank you so much indeed. Ready to wrap up this weekend for the drivers in the USF 2000 program. A guest from Andersen Company is going to be helping me out. We've got some hardware down there to give these deserving young drivers. So let's get things underway, folks. A great run yesterday. Back on the podium again here today for Jay Howard Driver Development. 3rd place, Evagoras Papasavas. Peggy DeMichael will come up here with that trophy. And again, a lot of our friends from Andersen Companies is part of our guest here this weekend. Peggy going to bring that P3 trophy to Evagoras. Again, this is going to be a championship to remember. We have so many talented drivers here. Peggy, thank you so much. We appreciate that. Evagoras, a strong run. led for a time again, and man, this kid's going to be one to watch. Really strong weekend for this driver here. While others were losing their minds around him, he kept his head among himself, and he did a great job, finishing in second. Back-to-back podiums for Pabst Racing. Sam Corey, P2. Lena Mejia will join us here with the P2 trophy for Sam Corey. Third yesterday, second today. That's how you move your way forward. Great drive for him, and back on the podium once again for Pabst Racing, a 1-2 as they came across the line. Lena, thank you. Get that shot in. Always exciting to see drivers come out of the gate, right, and win those first races. Again, the first time here at St. Petersburg. An emotional victory yesterday. Backs it up with another win here today. Put your hands together. The Florida's own Max Garcia. You liked it so much yesterday, you want to do it again?
Heck yeah. Want to do this every race.
Tell me a little bit about how you guys kind of approached the race here. Did you make any changes to the car at all, or was it just go out and do it again?
Go out and do it again, and that's exactly what we did. Pabst won too. That's amazing.
How was the racetrack? Obviously, every time you come out, we had a lot of IndyCar rubber down. How were you able to handle that?
It was a lot more grippy. You could brake later almost everywhere, so it was good.
All right, who do you want to thank, man?
Again, entire Pabst Racing, my mom, my dad, my family, and then my spotter. Wouldn't have done it without you, so thank you guys.
Get up on top of that podium. I got another first-place trophy for you. He's starting the collection, folks. Andrea Diaz is going to come up with that P1 trophy. Like I said, the second P1 trophy for young Max Garcia, just 14 years of age. Impressive, folks. He turns 15 in a couple of weeks. What a drive. Top three drivers doing a tremendous job here today. Again, that race was a wild one for sure. There was action all the way through. Capping things off for USF. Pro 2000 drivers on the racetrack first thing tomorrow morning. If you're here early, 8 a.m. we go racing for their second end, the back end of the doubleheader for USF Pro 2000. They had a wild race for sure as well, so we'll see who's able to come through. Lockie Hughes winning for Turn 3 Motorsports, but there are a number of drivers, including the guy who joined me in the booth, Nikita Johnson, looking to displace him from P1. There it is, the podium once again. Round of applause, folks. What a great drive. Third place, Evagoras Papasava. Second, Sam Corey. And back-to-back jacks for Max Garcia, winning in USF 2000. Those of you tuning into the broadcast, we'll wait for the champagne spray before we wrap things up. We got our guests from Andersen Companies come up to cap it off, including our leader himself, Mr. Dan Andersen, up there as well. Dan, of course, the CEO of Andersen Promotions, the man behind this fantastic USF Pro Championships. Interesting, folks, as well, the podium here. This is the 15th year that we have ran here at the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, starting all the way back in 2010. Sage Karam won both races that year. And at one point, he was the youngest driver ever to win in USF 2000. Now Nikita Johnson, but what do you say about a 14-year-old right here as well? And that is Max Garcia. Great to have the Andersen Companies guests with us here. Dan, of course, up on the podium as well. Nicely done for the drivers. I hope you guys had a great time today. Champagne, of course, waiting in the wings, and we'll get things rolling here to cap off the day. It's been a great one here at the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. Of course, the NTT IndyCar Series will roll out for that main event tomorrow. The Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Funding. It is going to be a battle for sure. So many of these drivers at IndyCar have come through this USF Pro Championships. Champagne's coming up. They don't need to wear these suits again until Nolan in about 3 weeks, guys. Let's have the celebration. Grab the champagne, grip it and rip it. There it is, the celebration. And they're going to go after Garcia. He'll spray that champagne, and away we go. Now the dump occurs. The future stars of the NTT IndyCar Series here at USF 2000. Max Garcia winning his second straight race to start off the 2024 season. Thank you so much for tuning into the broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Andersen Promotions and Continental Tire, my name's Rob Howden. Bye for now.